Hey, good morning, guys. So glad to be able to share a word with you this morning, and welcome to WOW. If you're checking this out for the first time, WOW is just the acronym for Word on Wheels. Um, if you, again, are new to me, I am a minister that has done this for 31 years full time, travel all the time. And the pandemic has changed that a little bit, but the heart is still there. And so there is a lot of people that do not go to church, and I've always said I believe there are more believers outside the church than inside the church. Uh, just simply for various reasons. But being a preacher's kid, I could give you 99% of them. But I do appreciate you sharing your time, and I have something else I have to go speak at this morning after this, so I won't hold you long. But I had a thought, which I deal a lot with, not just in my personal life, but I hear it a lot because I counsel a lot of people, and I hear a main problem. And if you were in a church service, many people would say, "Oh, I'm sick. I'm this. I'm that." And we've all had sickness hit us in one degree or another. But my question is, what if you could eliminate some of the sickness? Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying all of it, but I am saying some of it, because it is scientifically proven, medically proven, that many people who do not know how to forgive, they have high blood pressure, their immune system is not only complicated, it is subject to sickness. And I just I want to help all of us today in the art of forgiveness, because there is freedom in forgiving. Because psychologically, biologically, physiologically, your body responds to your attitude. And if there is any grudge holding, and I hope you guys are hearing my heart in this today, but if there's any grudge holding, it can affect you physically, emotionally, relationally, financially, every aspect of your life. You know, the word says, "He that the Son sets free is free indeed." Well, what does that mean? Well, Jesus did set us free, and most of you believe that. But what did he set us free from? He set us free to forgive. The word says in the book of John, through the Apostle John, we love him because he first loved us. A lot of people throw that colloquialism out there, "Oh, I love you, I love you." But a lot of people don't know what true love is. True love is forgiving. Now, let me share a biblical story with you. And I, of course, I'll study both languages, Greek, Hebrew, Aramaic. I'll study that. And some of you are stuck on King James translation. I read from the New King James translation, but I like to find a translation that is very close to the intended meaning from the original language. And in Matthew, the 18th chapter, around the 21st verse, there is a story recorded, a conversation between Peter and Jesus. And Peter says, this is wow, so I'm going to lay my seat back. The word says, Peter got up the nerve to ask. And again, I'll kind of quote this from the Message translation. Peter got up the nerve to ask, Master, how many times do I have to forgive a person who hurts me? 7? Now, understand, in the old Mosaic law, you were only allowed to be forgiven 3 times, and then you're out. You were only allowed 3 times. So Peter doubled it and added 1 because he's going to be the religious guy, okay? And so Peter asked him, he said, how many times do I have to forgive somebody? 7? And Jesus, he said, hardly. Try 70 times. Because the kingdom of God is like a king who decided to square accounts with his servants. And he got underway. And one servant was brought to him who had run up a debt of $100,000 rather. And he couldn't pay up, so the king ordered the man, along with his wife, children, and all of his goods, to be auctioned off at the slave market. And the poor guy threw himself at the king's feet and begged, give me a chance and I'll pay it all back. And so the king was touched by his pleading, and he let him off and erased the debt. And the servant was no sooner out of the room when he came upon another guy who owed him $10. And he grabbed him by the throat and demanded, I want you to pay up now. And that poor guy threw himself down and begged, give me a chance and I'll pay it back. But he wouldn't do it. And he had him arrested and put in jail until the debt was paid. And when all these other servants saw what was going on, they were just outraged. And they brought that report back to the king, who had just forgiven this guy his debt. And the king called that man back in and said, you are one evil person. I forgave you your entire debt when you begged me for mercy. Shouldn't you be compelled to be merciful to the person that owes you something, that you feel like owes you something? And the king was so mad, he put the screws to the man until he paid back his entire debt. Now, I want you to follow that. The Father has forgiven us, then why can't we forgive them? Forgiveness is not something that is earned. Forgiveness is a choice of the offended. In the psychological realm, unforgiveness demands negative emotions that's not good for your health. Negative attitudes and feelings of helplessness and hopelessness create this. It creates chronic stress, perpetuated stress, and it upsets and gets your hormones out of balance. It even depletes your brain chemicals that's required for happiness, and it damages your immune system. There are so many people with spiritual HIV. They have an immune disorder. And if you went back and traced and I hope you guys are getting this, if you went back and traced spiritual HIV and see where your immunity has been depleted, this is going to help you today. Chronic anger, it just puts you in that fight or flight mode that results in the changes of your blood pressure. It risks you for depression, heart disease, diabetes. Forgiveness, they have proven, and I love science. I love it. I know a lot of it is out there to prove that God is not real. He does not exist. But I love the more they talk about it, the more it proves God is real. Forgiveness, they have proven, calms your stress levels and improves your health. Forgiving is not forgetting. Forgiving doesn't mean you instantly stop hurting emotionally, and because deep wounds take a very, very long time to heal. And I'll say it again. Many people say, "Oh, I forgive you." And then they feel like they don't really forgive the person because they can't forget what they did to them. Now, watch this. When you do forgive, it just means you no longer use that memory against that person. Real freedom, given forgiveness, never means that you forget. Have I ever been done wrong? I've been done wrong. Have I ever done wrong? Oh my God. Yes, we all have. So what does it mean to really forgive a person? The word that Peter and Jesus was using in the forgiving of Matthew 18, that word forgive in the original language, and again, I've always threatened to write a Red River, a redneck Bible, but that word that they used for forgive means to dismiss something, to give it up, to send it away, and to release it. The word forgive was used to describe Peter and Andrew. Do you remember when Jesus originally called them to follow him? They were fishing, and they were leaving the boat. That was their life. That was their livelihood. And you can find that in Matthew, the 4th chapter. But Jesus called them to be his disciples. And the word says that they left their nets and followed him. They didn't forget their nets. They didn't forget their boat. They just chose to leave them behind. Forgiveness is not a choice. Forgiveness is a choice. It's not an earned reward. And if you, Lord, how do I say this? If you've not chosen to release that offense, if you haven't chosen to dismiss it, you've not forgiven them, and you're still in bondage to them. My question today, and again, this is a short message, who are you allowing to keep you in a bondage that is affecting you? So this is what Jesus was saying to Peter. He said, follow me. In other words, forgive like me. And then Peter turned around and come back to Jesus and said, Lord, how often, here's where we go, how often do I forgive? And Jesus said 7 times 70. 490 times. Forgive. In other words, if you want to stay healthy, your health is not determined by another person. Your health is determined by you in the area of forgiveness. Now, again, there are other situations, so don't misconstrue what I'm trying to get across here. You and I are to forgive others because Jesus has forgiven us. Because now, remember back to Matthew 18, the king talked to the man that he forgave of all those thousands of dollars, forgave the debt. And then that guy goes and he starts grabbing people by the throat that owes him something. Who are you still upset with? Who do you feel like you need an apology from? If you need an apology to move on with life, then you are a prisoner to the one who offended you. You and I are to forgive others because Jesus has forgiven us. Because now you're a forgiven person, you're to be a forgiving person. In Colossians, the 3rd chapter, you can read it from the 12th, 13, 14th verse. Therefore, as the elect of God, holy and beloved, put on tender mercies, kindness, and humbleness of mind, meekness, long-suffering, bearing with one another, and forgiving one another. If anyone has a complaint against another, even as Christ forgave you, you also must forgive them. You can see it again in Ephesians, the 4th chapter, around the 29th, 30th, 31st verse. He said, let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but what is good for necessary edification, that it may impart grace to the hearers. And don't grieve the Holy Spirit of God. Now see, being the religious boy I used to be, I am no longer religious. I am spiritual. Huge difference. Religion is when you live someone else's convictions. Spiritual is when you know God for yourself. I am not a religious person. I know years and years ago, they used to sing that song, give me that old time religion. Well, their heart was right, but their theological perspective needed to be adjusted a little bit, because religion is man's effort to be pleasing to God. But once you realize you're forgiven, how easily do you forgive someone else? And again, forgiveness is not forgetting. Forgiveness is letting it go so it does not put you in bondage. And I see a lot of you guys chiming in, and I thank you so much, so very much. But Paul went on to say in Ephesians, let all the bitterness, the wrath, the anger, the clamor, and the evil speaking just stop. With all the malice, just quit it. Well, when they tell me they're sorry, I'll forgive them. No, you won't, because you'll never forget what they did. You have to come to the place, you just let it go. People change. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they will always act like that. If I don't like to eat at McDonald's, I just don't go through the drive-thru. But it doesn't mean I'm not going to tell you, hey, go eat wherever you want to. My main question today is, who are you allowing to steal your life? And Paul went on to say, be kind to one another. What's it mean to be kind to somebody? It doesn't mean to just be cordial. It means to treat them the way God has treated us. Because, watch this, be kind to one another, tender-hearted, Paul said, forgiving one another, just as God, through Christ, has forgiven us. So, here would be the next question, because when I bring things like this to you, I had to evaluate it in my own life. And believe me, if you've lived long enough, I'm 67 years old. I've been in this all my life. You live long enough, you're going to have people do you wrong. But how long are you going to let them be the warden of your prison? And today, I just set you free to say, you know what? I'm not waiting on a parole board. I'm setting myself free. So how do you know if you're truly forgiven and walking in forgiveness? That memory of what they did no longer triggers negative emotions. I think I can be blunt enough to say this. You're never more like Jesus. And again, being raised in the atmosphere I was raised in, to be like Jesus meant you didn't smoke, dip, drink, scoot a boot, or on my East and West Coast friends, dance. And now you're like Jesus. No. To be like Jesus in its most simplified definition is to forgive like Jesus. Even on the cross, what did Jesus say? He didn't look at the crowd. Do you realize the only communication Jesus had with the crowd looking at him while he was hanging, a bloody mess on the cross, was with his mother? And he said, woman, behold your son. He did not say to the crowd, I'm going to get you back, you're going to get yours. Or here's the religious phraseology, I'm just washing my hands of it, God'll take care of it. In other words, I need some type of vindication to feel value again. That's what unforgiveness is. The lack of personal value. So you need someone else to value you. So I like what one author said. We're all like beasts in humanity when we kill. We're like men when we judge. But we're like God when we forgive. Forgiveness is this. It's an active process where you make a conscious decision to let go of negative feelings, whether the person deserves it or not. How do I do that, Mark? You let go of expectations. An apology may not change your relationship with the other person, or if you elicit an apology from them. If you don't expect an apology, you won't be disappointed. The only way, and if we had more time, we could go into the neurological science of it, because your emotions, your feelings, send signals to the neurons of your brain. The neurons of your brain affect the chemicals that are released in your body. And so unforgiveness dictates emotions. Emotions dictate brain work. Brain work dictates chemical release, and chemical release dictates physiological health or sickness a lot of times. Now again, that's not in every case, but a lot of sickness and disease is because of unforgiveness. Yes, some of you watching may say, I was abused as a child. I was raised in a bad home. My husband cheated on me. My wife left me. My boss said I'm not worth it. I'm no good. They let me go out of the blue. How long are you going to stay in the prison that someone else has put you in? The highest form of love is not forgetting what they did to you. But you can't love your neighbor until you love yourself. And the highest form of loving yourself is letting no man be your master. Who are you allowing to master your life? You may be hurting, which I'm sure you are. We've all hurt. But just because you're hurting does not mean you have to live in that pain. So Jesus on the cross had no communication with the crowd except his mother. What did he say? Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. Because an evil act toward you is because that person has problems. They're in their own prison when they did it. So I encourage you today, let's get out of jail. Jesus gave us a get out of jail free card. And so, you know, again, in the religious atmosphere, accepting Christ is all about getting to heaven. I would go a little farther than that. Heaven is when you don't have a prison warden. You are not living in a jail. People's going to do you wrong. I'll guarantee you, sometime today or tomorrow or the next day, there's going to be somebody that's going to do something that you don't like. But if you have to have an apology, you are giving up your freedom. And he that the Son sets free is totally free. Don't let events and people dictate your happiness and your health. So today I call you blessed. I call you whole. I call you healed. I call you anointed. And right now, I just speak this over you. And you can say it out loud if you want to, wherever you are. Don't embarrass yourself if you're around people, but at least have the thought, I forgive them. You'll never forget it, ever. You know, some people think, oh, now that I'm saved, my sins are washed away. Yes, they are. But you'll never forget what you did wrong. So every sin you commit creates another voice to the enemy to use against you. Today, you declare, I will not hold a grudge. I will truly forgive because I've been forgiven. That doesn't mean you go set yourself back up to be done wrong, but it does mean I'm not going to keep myself in a prison over what somebody else said or did to me. So I call you free. This today is your get out of jail free card. September 20, you are getting out of jail. This is your day. I hope y'all got something out of that. Again, I hate to be in a hurry, but this is Word on Wheels, and these wheels have to go somewhere else. But thank you so very much for passing this along to other people. I'm not trying to build my name. I'm trying to build a faith in the goodness of God. And if you are a partner with the ministry, thank you so much for your support. And if you've never partnered, just go to markshellministries.com. We don't give out t-shirts and mugs and ink pens, but we do give out a lot of love, and your support helps me do what God has called me to do. And I thank you so very much for your generosity, your faith, and your giving. And I want you, I cannot say this enough, and I don't want it to become so redundant, it's mundane now in your hearing, but I want you to go act more like God than you ever have. And that is forgive like God. So you all have a blessed day. I will see you next week. And be sure, if you have any questions, email the ministry. We have multiple email addresses. So email the ministry. I'll answer what I teach. I don't know everything, but if I teach it, I've studied it. And so I can answer that. But I love you guys. And you all just have the best day you've ever had because you just got out of prison. A lot of you did just get out of prison. You stop expecting an apology to be free. You've already been made free. Have an awesome day.